What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be creating this tool poster consisting of all the lyrics and all the artwork from their albums. Last week I saw them in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm very inspired. I'm going to be starting the structure in Adobe Illustrator and then finishing up the imagery and effects in Photoshop. Before we get started, please hit the like and subscribe button below. It'll keep you up to date on all of my future videos. Now let's get started. Okay, so I went ahead and got all the boring stuff out of the way, which is basically gathering all of the lyrics together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first start by defining my area where the lyrics are going to go. And so the lyrics and the artwork are actually going to go in the same place. Hang on, let me get some water. There we go. All right, so we've got, this is 36 by 24 or 24 by 36 if you want to say that it's rotated. And so the space that the lyrics and the artwork are going to go is going to be 32 inches wide and 20 inches tall. So the very first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to convert this. Actually, first, I'm going to grab all the lyrics because I've got them all as basically one continuous line of text. And I'm going to convert this to an area type tool, or area type box basically. And we're going to use, I'm going to use probably Manrope, one of my favorite fonts. I used to use Metropolis for this, but Metropolis all of a sudden is not, I don't think it's available anymore on whatever free service that I had. It was either Google Fonts or Adobe Fonts, one of those, but it's not available anymore. So I'm going to use Manrope, and we're going to go all caps. And what I do here is I just kind of adjust, and really this is the most tedious part of the process, is adjusting the size and the tracking and kerning and all of that stuff to make sure that it all fits perfectly within this box that I've defined. So it looks like we're getting kind of close. Sometimes this can take a long time to get perfect, and sometimes it doesn't take that long at all. So it looks like we've got -10, which is good. It's fitting all of the text in and everything, but the problem is, you see there's a lot of spaces in between these words right here. So, and then if you go -9, then it doesn't fit at all. So what we want to do is I'm going to do this at -10, and then I'll just select, probably starting around this area right here all the way to the end, and I'll increase that tracking a little bit, so that way we're not adjusting the tracking for all of the text, just a little bit of it. And basically my goal is to get that period down there all the way to the very end of the text box, if possible, because we want the flow to be, continuous. We want everything to be nice and consistent. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way up to 0, and then just kind of back it off a little one by one. There we go. So it looks like -3 is going to be a good way to go there, and then maybe we'll grab maybe the last couple of lines, maybe the last 5 lines or something like that, and see if we can push it out even further. Okay, doesn't look too promising. Maybe the very last 2. And let's see how close we can get it to that blue line. Okay, so it looks like that's as good as we're gonna get, which is totally fine actually, because it's looking a lot better than it did. And if you look at this, let's draw like a line right here up against where all of the text is going. It's not too far away from it, so I think it'll be just fine. All right, so here we go. Here is our structure for all of the lyrics, starting from Opiate all the way down to Fear Inoculum. Has all of the lyrics there. So I'm going to select this, and now that I'm happy with all the text, I'm going to create outlines. So convert this to outlines. This is going to take a second. So then the next thing I want to do is I'm very precise. I'm a very precise person, so everything has to be exactly perfect. So I'm going to make sure that it's exactly 2 inches from the top edge, like top and the left side. And then this right here, I can't deal with this. 32.0086. No, we're just going to do 32, which is what that is supposed to be. It'll take just a second because that's a lot of vector artwork that it's got to work with. And then we're going to change this to 20 inches. Okay, so basically the end result of this poster is going to be the it's going to be the album artwork actually showing through the text. So what we want to do something to make it a little bit more visually interesting. So I'm going to select all of the text here, and I'm going to actually apply this wave effect to it. That way it'll still keep all of the type legible, but it just kind of gives this really cool wave effect. And usually on my landscape posters, I do like a 35% wave. So as you can see, it is making all of that text nice and wavy and everything, but it's still all legible. All right. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna select all of this, and we're gonna copy this, and we're pretty much done in Illustrator. I may come back for some other adjustments, but I think that we're pretty much done. So copy it and then paste it as a smart object. That's very important. It's going to take just a second because that's a lot of vector artwork that it's got to work with. It's got to render. Okay, so now we're good here, and I see there's a kind of some dead spots in this area, but it's only because of that those eyes repeating in Rosetta Stone. So no problem, not a big deal at all. You probably won't even notice once we add the actual artwork. So I'm going to call this all lyrics, and just for now, just to make sure that it doesn't get moved, I'm going to go ahead and lock that. So let's hide this real quick, and what I'm going to do is, since we are putting artwork from 6 albums on there, I'm going to create my 6 shapes. That can easily turn into a tongue twister. So 6 shapes, and I'm going to duplicate these right here. And you want to make sure that they're exactly, exactly butted up against each other, and we'll do that in here in just a second. And they all have to be, actually, you know what? I am going to do this. When it comes to measuring things, it's way easier in Illustrator, and a lot faster and a lot more precise. So at least in my opinion. So I'm going to do all of my measuring in Illustrator, and then I'll actually create the shapes. Yeah, I've got to move this back so that I can actually move this. This is a lot that this program is dealing with right now, so I just have to move it, and it's trying to catch up with everything that I've thrown at it so far, which is kind of annoying, but I also understand the computer has a lot of work to do. So so much for these 2021 24-inch iMacs that are supposed to be able to handle anything you throw at them according to what everybody said. Okay, let's move you over. Come on. Gracious. Anytime today. It's normally not this bad. What if I did this? I don't know why it has to warp over and over. I guess technically it still has that warp effect on it. All I need is for it to be off of my canvas. Okay, good. All right, so now let's lock it so the computer doesn't even recognize it, basically. Sorry about that. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to set this at 2 inches, and it's going to be the same height, so 20 inches. And I'm going to create 6 of these total. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to select that first one and make sure that there's no space in between them. And then we'll bring this overall size down to 32. So this is our actual size of each one of the panels that we're going to have here. Okay. And now and now that we've got the actual size that is exactly correct, we can now just duplicate these going all the way across, and we have our 6 panels that the artwork is going to go in. Okay, so let's go grab the artwork. I am going to... Okay, so tool, opiate, oops, not oparut, album cover. And what I'm going to do here is I actually really like this one right here, this remastered one. I've tried working with this Opiate album cover in the past. It just doesn't quite work well. So I'm going to do this. Let's just so I don't lose my sanity, I'm going to name all of these so that way I know exactly which one I'm working with. And I'm going to put them in numerical order real quick. Just take just a second. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and paste this, and I am going to mask this one to that first one, so that way it doesn't go anywhere outside of that first panel there. So let's go probably. I think that's pretty good. You want to get as much of the artwork as you can inside of that panel. So I think that is looking good. And let's go ahead and grab tool, undertow, album cover. And let's see here. This one is probably going to be the best looking image, although I can actually work with this one. Okay. We'll clip it to that layer. I don't know why it keeps bringing up my effects panel. That's weird. All right, so since we've only got a limited amount of horizontal space here, I'm going to bring this to about right there because it is recognizable as that album cover even if you just have that. So let's I want to kind of increase the contrast just a little bit, but at the same time I don't want it to be too washed out. You know, this is a black background that we're dealing with already, so I want to make sure that, you know, that artwork can still be seen. Okay, good. And let's see, tool, Anima, album cover. I'll probably just grab that eye right there. Let's see, which one is bigger? This one probably is going to take up the most amount of space, so let's go ahead and grab this. Clip it to that layer, and then we're going to lose a lot of the image, but it's okay, you know, because this is still obviously an Anima cover, or reminiscent of the Anima cover. All right, so let's go to Lateralis and make sure it's a large one that we're grabbing. And I think that, let's see, this one, it's not high quality enough. Let's go ahead and grab why are they all such crappy quality? Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll see what I can do in terms of applying some effects, because we are making these, you know, we're taking something that's small and making it a lot larger than it's actually supposed to be. So usually when I do stuff like this is I'll go in and I'll add you know, like some kind of effects. Like sometimes it's like a artistic type of effect or a blurring effect or something like that, that will you know, perfectly capture or you know, help to capture the essence of the album cover. and make sure that it's still recognizable. Okay. 10,000 days. And we'll clip this right here. Perfect. And looks like we're also, we're losing some of that detail, but it's okay. We can just do that. I actually really like that placement right there. And then let's go grab, since we broke the rules a little bit with Opiate, I think, Fear Album. Let's see. Fear Inoculum and large. Since we broke the rules a little bit with Opiate in using an alternate cover, I think I'm going to do the same thing for Fear Inoculum, because it's a little bit difficult to work with, like that particular image, in terms of getting some text to show through it. So I think that I'm going to do the Alex Gray torch. There we go. That one's nice and colorful. Oops. It's good. All right. Let's bring this all the way up. And then, I forgot to clip it to that layer, but it's no problem. I can do that now. Perfect. All right. So that's pretty wicked, actually. Okay, so we've got all of those lined up with each other. A lot of eyes going on here, except for Undertow, obviously. Okay, so now we have all of our we have all the artwork that's actually laid out across all these panels. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to see, because we've got a lot of pixelation going on here, although that's not really going to matter once all of these are showing through the lyrics, but I still want to see what I can do. Maybe I'll do like an oil paint effect or something like that. It already kind of has that going on the Opiate album cover, but I'm still just gonna, I think I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to each one, just so we can, get a little bit of consistency across the board. These are all these are all images taken at all kinds of different scan levels and all these different things that are going on. So I'd like the images to be as consistent as possible, even though we're taking small images and blowing them up. And if we can do anything at all to just even slightly improve the quality, then why not, right? Let's see what it's doing to lateralis there. So we can go all the way in, and as you can see, it's only a slight improvement, which is totally fine, because in just a second we're gonna flatten all of these. We're gonna combine all of these together into one actual shape. That way they can come through the lyrics. Okay, oil paint. Do the same thing here. So usually when you're doing stuff like this, and this is the time-consuming process, is really just getting all the structure in place. Okay, so now we've got all of that, and I'm going to hit Command E, and it's going to merge all of those together. And so now we have the lyrics. We'll set those on top, and I am going to set this background color to about like this. So that way you can actually see what the lyrics look like as they're going over the top here, but we're going to do something even cooler. So let's put the artwork back on top, and now we're going to clip that to the layer. So as you can see here, we've got all of the lyrics that are showing the artwork. Basically, the artwork coming through the lyrics, and then we've got that charcoal black background behind all of the lyrics. So as you can see here, we've got some areas where where the contrast is a little bit too low. So we've got some text right here that's not very easy to see. But that's not a big deal. What we'll do is there's a number of things you can do here, but one of the things that I like to do is whip out the brush tool, switch it over to white, and then turn my flow down to about 10%, something like that. And just kind of, well, actually, I think I'll turn it down even lower, maybe to like 2%. And what we do is we just go through and just kind of brighten up these areas a little bit. You know, we are using white, but we're not making it pure white. We're just bringing it up to a level where you can actually read the words there. And you don't necessarily have to be able to read all of the words. You know, just some areas here and there, because you obviously still want it to flow. You don't want to take away the recognizability of the album covers. Could also use the dodge tool. Let's see. It kind of helps to increase that contrast just a little bit. Bring up some of those darker areas. I think I might switch back over to the paintbrush. I was getting a little bit better luck with that. So yeah, just these darker areas right here, just want to make sure that I'm going in and just making sure that these lyrics are actually legible. Like I said, it doesn't have to be every area, but you know, like areas like this, you know what, let me make a selection first so that I don't bleed into those other areas. Okay. And then we'll just kind of blend this area a little bit. There was an obvious line there, so we wanted to get rid of that. And everything else for the most part looks good. I think that there's plenty of contrast to make sure that everything is good. I may bring this down to like 7%, something like that. And now what we'll do is I'm going to add just a couple of really simple effects to the top. So I'll do my grain just like I always do. So 50% gray, camera raw filter, and I think I'll go all the way up to 100, and we'll do the size at 50, roughness at 25. I think that looks good, and then a slight vignette around it. I don't think you're going to be able to notice it, but it still helps to just give it a little bit more detail right there. And actually, you know what, I'm not happy with the size of that grain, so let's go back in. So the size is a little bit too harsh. Let's see, let's get an idea of what this will look like at 100% view. Okay. Nope, way too grainy. Okay, I think that looks good. 50, 25, 25. Okay, good. And one last thing that I'd like to do is there's this photocopy paper that I really like, and this one is my favorite. So let's drag this to the top here, and just give it a little bit more texture, especially in those darker areas. It'll probably help a little bit with those areas that we had to brighten as well. So let's put this underneath the grain layer, and now we'll apply this to all of the artwork. I think that lighten looks pretty cool. May end up going, okay, difference is actually pretty cool, although it's a little bit dark. So I think that I'm going to end up, wow, that's interesting. I think I'll end up going with lighten for this. And let's go in and make sure that everything is still good. Okay, it is definitely taking away some of that readability. in the darker areas. So let's see what it looks like when we do overlay. No, that darkens it way too much. All right, so for lighten, what if we just brought it down by about 50%, and then for these darker areas, let's see if we can brighten the overall image itself without blowing it out too much. If we went this way and then went this way, no, that's not going to work. Sometimes the craziest things work. You just never know until you try. Kind of, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. Let's see what it looks like from a distance. Okay, that is pretty cool. It looks a little bit washed out, but that's not that big of a deal. It just kind of gives it an aged look overall, and I think it looks really cool actually. The only thing I might do, I may add a slight layer of noise to the very top, just to kind of help protect that quality a little bit. All right, that looks a lot better, and it's also brightening some of those areas. Okay, so let me look overall here. All the areas are still pretty legible. We've got some areas that are a little bit dark, but really the point, man, this is really cool. The Fear Inoculum one is awesome. Very colorful. But overall, you can still see that these are Tool album covers and showing all the lyrics through, especially when you get up close. So here it is. Here's the final product, Tool All Albums lyrics poster, featuring going from Opiate all the way to Fear Inoculum. Well, thanks a lot for watching me create that Tool poster. It was really fun to do, and after that Louisville show last week, man, I'm just inspired to make a whole bunch of posters. So I guess you're in luck. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe down below. It'll keep all these videos coming directly to you. Thanks for watching and have a great day. See you next time. Bye-bye.